Episode 4 of Prison School. Oh my god, I feel so bad for Kiyoshi, but this episode was like everything I wanted and more. It's like the studio, how I listened to my request from last week, and rather than like dragging it on, we actually got these 2 days to like finally pass, and finally this date happened, and I gotta say, I feel for the guy. It was definitely very unfortunate how it played out. But man, it seems that from the title of next week's episode, things are like only going to get worse from here. But this episode itself, it picked off now from last week after we have Four Eyes, pulling down the skirt of the president. And so we see that after that, we have the vice president getting like really angry, and pretty much not only did she beat him up, but we also had the crow get in there and attack him as well. And that right there, I felt bad for the guy. And now we see that, that the reason why he was doing this, like everything he did, it was for like a certain reason, and we see why that is, because we see that after he got beat up like that, we have the other guys eating dinner, and we learned that like Four Eyes here, he had went to the vice president so that way he could apologize for like what he did. And so we see that the reason why he did this, or we see now that the way he was like punished for this, of course, like they threw that comedy in there to make believe it like something else. But we see that like after he came back, everybody was like shocked, because we see now that this guy, he was like rocking a fade. He had lost, his hair as it was like cut off. And we see now that the reason why he got his hair cut, it was so that, Kiyoshi here, that when he goes out, he can make the hair into a wig for him to wear. And so, of course, that right there, that sacrifice, it like builds up on Four Eyes' character, and that right there makes me like him even more. And so now we see that the next step of their plan, it was for Kiyoshi, to get a school uniform. And we even see now that, some girls, they would like turn in their uniforms. And so now we see that the door that Kiyoshi would like have to get into, so that way he could steal a uniform, the only way he could do that is by, well, like normally it's locked, but when this guy come there, to pick it up and wash it, that right there, it's the only time that it will like open. And we see now that when Kiyoshi made his move to break in there, this guy, he's a pretty fast worker. So right now, Kiyoshi did not have, enough time to go in there. And then we have Four Eyes, once again, being a grade A bro. He was like, he was like, egging this guy on, making him upset, so that way he would like get distracted and want to like beat him up. And so we see that right there allow Kiyoshi, to like break in and try to steal a uniform, but he got distracted by the vice president panties, and that right there was, hilarious. But now we have Shingo, I believe his name is. He came over there and, and got on Four Eyes there and tried to get the man to like leave him alone. And we see now that Kiyoshi, he could not find a uniform because they were like all on the truck. And when the guy had came back, to do more work, we see now that, that after that, we see that, Kiyoshi, he was like hiding, underneath like one of the clothesmans. And so we see that when he actually, got a uniform, the guy came back and locked the truck. But we see now that when Kiyoshi could not get out, I think we're not looking that good. We see that he had placed that bin that he had over him, underneath one of the wheels. And so when that guy ran over and freaked out, that right there allowed him, to escape. But now we see that the president, she was now very furious. And we see now that she was blaming what Four Eyes did on the vice president, because she thought that by her overwatching them and punishing them, she thought that right there wasn't enough. And so now we see that, if an incident happened like this again, or if they, step out of line, like any sort of way, she will like punish her, but we have no idea, how. But she like hinted at it dealing with her crows. So obviously, that right there definitely, kind of scared her. But now we see that, today was the day, and we see, Kiyoshi getting ready. And so now we see that when they all had went out, onto the fields, we have these girls coming out there, from different schools. And obviously, these guys were like definitely enjoying the view. But we have the vice president. She was still, pretty angry at them. And we see her now attacking Joe, Andre, and Shingo because, those two were the ones that were like talking. And so now we see now that it was almost finally time for the plan. And we see that these girls, had came to, for us Kiyoshi, to hand over their bags to them. And we see now that obviously, something was definitely going on with Four Eyes. And we have, one of the girls, bringing it saying, did he have a boner? And to me, that right there had me dying laughing. But it turns out that they were actually a speaker that he would use, to play that sound of Four Eyes here going to the bathroom. But now we see that, as the event had went on, and and when those two at least got to eat their lunch, it was now finally time to to make their move. And we have Kiyoshi heading into the bathroom, and then we have him sneaking out. But not only that, we have the vice president. We have the vice president punishing the other guy for some reason, because we have no idea what they did. I would imagine that they were slacking off, because I do believe she had made some kind of remark about that. But we did see her punishing them. But then we see now that when Kiyoshi here was changing, some of the hair that was from Four Eyes obviously got blown away by the wind and hit the vice president in the face. And so now for some reason she could recognize that pretty easily. I was kind of shocked at how fast she figured out who hair that was. And now we see that, when she was walking into Kiyoshi's direction, he was still changing, obviously had to hurry. But then we see now that the uniform that he stole, it was pretty small for him. And so when he did put it on, it actually tore it in the back. And now we see that he had no choice but to actually use his bag, to cover it up. And we see now that when the vice president came, check though it was a girl, so obviously, Kiyoshi definitely did a good job with that. But now we have Kiyoshi finally about to make his escape, because we saw him getting closer, to the exit. And we see now that this time he was stopped by the president. And of course, that right there was one of his worst fears, that someone would recognize him. But luckily, luckily she didn't, because she said that he should not wear his bag like that, and want him to take it off. But when she sees that the uniform was torn, that right there gave him a free pass, because she thought that he was doing it because of that, which he was. But his fear did not come to for what was the word, fruition, or whatever the word is. But now we see that he was in the clear. And we see now we have him rushing, toward the arena. And then we had this scene, or actually no, we had two scenes with Chiyo, I believe her name is. And we see that the first one was her making these rice balls. And then we have her friend saying that different here was a date. And then we have her on the train, thinking about that. But finally, we have, Kiyoshi arriving, and of course, he was so out of breath because he was running there. And then we go back to the school where we have Four Eyes being, questioned by the vice president. And we see now that she kind of put his business out there about what he did. And that right there made the girls, just like him even more, because they had already found him, kind of creepy. And so now we see that, while these two were enjoying the sumo matches, we see that, she had showed him the rice ball she made for them. And we see now, Kiyoshi here, he thought that, they'll be filled with anything, because obviously he'll be happy no matter what, because she made them. But when they were empty, obviously that right there made him, pretty disappointed. And it was funny how it seems that, when he found out that they were only salt in there, it seemed like he took on the appearance of Andre. And to me, that right there did make me laugh, quite a bit. But now we see, you know, going back to the school, you know, once again, we have the vice president looking for Kiyoshi, and we see now that when Four Eyes, you know, tells her that he's still in the bathroom, obviously, you know, she wants some answers. And so now we see that, you know, when she goes in there, obviously, he won't say anything because he's not there. But luckily, we have Four Eyes, you know, on the uptake, and he actually makes that sound play. I was like dying laughing too, because we see her now, you know, getting pretty upset because not only did he, you know, not answer her with his voice, but she believes that, you know, he answered her by like crapping. And obviously, you know, she takes out her rage on Four Eyes, you know, once again. But then we see now that after Kiyoshi had ate those rice balls, because obviously, you know, he did eat beforehand, he had to eat the bathroom, and we see now that, you know, Chiyo, she got, you know, a little too worked up because they did take a picture together previously, but then we see her now make a wrong move, and she spilled some tea, you know, on his bag. And we see now that she had noticed, you know, the uniform inside. And so because of that, you know, when she had looked at it and she saw who it belonged to, when he came back, she acted so cold toward him and she called him disgusting before running off. And we see now that, you know, when he notices what happened and when he sees, you know, who uniform that is, obviously, you know, he realized, you know, what must have took place. But I am surprised that, like, he did not check the uniform beforehand or saw who it belonged to. But now we see that when he realized what happened, you know, his facial expression, you know, changed completely. And not only that, we see now that, you know, Four Eyes here were like still so hopeful that like he would still get his figures for him. But now we have Shingo, and this guy I am starting to dislike a little bit because he like ruins everything. You know, he had realized like he had not seen Kiyoshi in a while, and so we see that, you know, Four Eyes is still using that bathroom excuse, but Shingo here was not buying it. And so when he went into the bathroom, you know, to check on him, that right there caught, you know, the vice president's attention, and she attacked them both. And once again, you know, she is like trying to actually, you know, like talk to Kiyoshi, but of course, you know, he's not there, so he's not replying. And we see now that when Four Eyes actually tried to play that sound, it was not working. And so we see that, like, because of that, you know, we have the vice president accusing him of like touching himself, and I was like dying at that scene as well. But then we have the president and the chairman talking, and we do learn now that that the boys only had a week left on their sentence. But because there's obviously, you could tell that it will be extended because not only did he receive some text at the same time, and I do believe that it could have been Chiyo, you know, reporting this, or maybe not, but we see that the vice president herself actually kicked down the bathroom door. So obviously, you know, that we're in it on the, you know, on a cliffhanger, but from the title of next episode, obviously things are definitely not looking good for Kiyoshi at all. But the episode overall, to me, was like definitely funny. We did get a lot of awesome progression in this episode, and that I definitely appreciate, because like I said, I wanted, oh my god, I had wanted this date happen for so long, and now that I finally did, I could not be, you know, like more excited. And of course, I'm very hyped for like next week as well. And so overall, the episode to me, I thought it was like definitely good because it gave me, you know, what I wanted. And so for that, I'm going to give it probably an 8 out of 10. But of course, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe because it really helps me out. And you guys take it easy. I will see you all next time.